You did the hardest thing. You walked away from a toxic relationship, and you were expecting to find peace, freedom, and support. You steeled yourself for the grief of the breakup, but you imagined this net of friends and family, ready to catch you, celebrate your bravery, and welcome you back to a safe life. But that's not what happened, was it? Instead, you were met with a wall of silence. Instead of support, you got suspicion. Instead of celebration, you got blame. You start to hear the whispers. But he seemed so nice. Or, are you sure it was that bad? And maybe the most soul-crushing one of all, you should just move on. If you felt more alone after leaving than you did when you were in the relationship, you have to hear this. You are not crazy. And you are not imagining it. There's a deep and disturbing reason this happens. And today, we're going to uncover that unspoken truth. We'll look at the shocking societal hurdles that stand between you and your healing. And we'll reveal why real freedom is impossible without the one thing nobody ever talks about. Let's talk about a woman we'll call Sarah. Sarah's story is a blend of thousands of experiences, shared in quiet corners of the internet and in therapists' offices. For years, Sarah lived on high alert. Her life was a constant, careful dance around her partner's moods. She managed his anger, soothed his insecurities, and made herself smaller to make him feel big. The choice to leave wasn't one big moment. It was a slow, terrifying awakening. It took every last ounce of her courage to finally pack that bag, to make the call, to walk out the door. She knew the aftermath would be hard, but she also expected relief. She pictured late-night calls with her best friend, her parents telling her how proud they were, her social circle closing ranks to protect her. The reality was devastatingly different. Her best friend, after one or two heavy conversations, started changing the subject, saying it was all too much. Her parents, terrified of the drama, told her to let it go, just to keep the peace. Then, at a mutual friend's party, she had to watch in horror as her ex was welcomed with open arms, charming the very people who knew a fraction of what he'd put her through. People would pull her aside and say things like, "I'm sure you had your reasons, but he's just so broken up about it." First, reason number one, the uncomfortable truth shatters their world. Most people operate on a hidden belief called the just world fallacy. It's the idea that the world is fair, that bad things only happen to bad people, or at least to people who make bad choices. When you come forward with your story, you're holding up a mirror to the chaos and injustice of the world. You're telling them that the charming person they like is capable of cruelty. You're telling them that terrible things can happen to good people for no reason at all. This is a terrifying thought. To accept your truth, they would have to accept that they, too, are vulnerable. It's so much easier, psychologically, to poke holes in your story, to question your judgment, to blame you, the victim, than to rebuild their entire understanding of how the world works. Trauma expert Judith Lewis Herman calls this denial on a social level. Your trauma becomes their inconvenience, so they deny it to stay comfortable. Second, reason number two, the paralysis of the bystander. Many people in your life, friends, family, co-workers, are what Herman calls implicated subjects. They might suspect or even know about the abuse, but they do nothing. This inaction isn't always malicious. A lot of the time, it's born from a deep fear of getting involved. They don't know what to say. They're afraid of making it worse, of taking sides, or that the abuser will turn on them. So, they retreat into what they call neutrality. And third, reason number three, the politics of believability. The minute you leave, your ex-partner is probably launching a PR campaign to save their own reputation. They'll paint you as unstable, vindictive, or crazy. And society, which is steeped in centuries of patriarchal norms that have silenced women, is disturbingly ready to listen. Your story is complex and painful. His is often simple. She's emotional. I tried my best. I just want to move on. In a world that is deeply uncomfortable with female anger and suspicious of a woman's testimony, the simpler, less challenging story often wins. Your community isn't just being silent. They are often actively choosing which story to believe. And tragically, they often choose the one that requires the least amount of courage to accept. So, what are we told to do? Go to therapy. Practice self-care. Journal. Meditate. Go no contact. All of this is vital. It's necessary work. But it's only half the equation. It's like setting a broken bone by yourself, but never getting a cast to hold it in place. True, deep healing is impossible without the one thing that no one ever talks about: public acknowledgement. Now, I don't mean a press conference or a lawsuit, though that might be the right path for some. I'm talking about the profound, healing power of having your truth recognized and validated by the people who matter in your life. The foundational scholar on trauma, Judith Lewis Herman, says it perfectly. If trauma shames and isolates, then recovery must take place in community. Psychological trauma isn't just a battle inside your own mind. It's an injury that happens in a social context, so it has to be healed in a social context. The abuser isolates you and shames you to make you feel worthless. The antidote isn't just telling yourself you have worth. It's being treated as worthy by a community that bears witness to your pain and denounces the harm done to you. Think about it. The shame you feel doesn't just come from the abuse itself. It comes from the secret you had to keep. The silence of your community keeps that secret alive, and as long as it's alive, the shame festers. Acknowledgement breaks that spell. When a friend says, "I believe you. What he did was wrong. It was not your fault," they are doing so much more than offering kind words. They are taking a moral stance. They are dismantling the abuser's story and restoring your place in the community. In that moment, they are creating justice. This is why self-care alone is never enough. You can repeat affirmations in the mirror for hours, but it's the echo of that validation from a trusted friend, from a family that actually stands by you, that truly begins to repair the broken trust in humanity the trauma caused. So, what do you do when your original community fails you? You can't force people to be brave, but you can take your power back. You can become the author of your own recovery. First. You get to redefine your community. The hard truth is that the people you thought would be your biggest supporters may not be able to show up for you. But community isn't defined by blood or history. It's defined by who shows up now. It might be a support group for survivors. It might be a therapist who validates you week after week. It might just be one or two friends who have the courage to listen without judging. Focus your energy there. Your community may get smaller, but its strength will be so much greater. Second, practice telling your truth in safe spaces. The goal here isn't to convince the skeptics. The goal is to reinforce your own reality. Every single time you share your story with someone who listens and believes you, you are healing. You're taking the story out of the hands of the abuser and the silent bystanders and placing it firmly back in your own. This rebuilds your faith not only in yourself, but in the very idea of safe relationships. Third, become the architect of your own boundaries. You have to realize that you don't need everyone's validation, but you absolutely need to protect yourself from their judgment. This means setting firm boundaries with people who minimize what you went through or who insist on staying neutral. That can sound like, "I can't talk about my healing with you if you're still in contact with my ex," or "When you say I should just get over it, that's incredibly hurtful, and I need you to stop." These boundaries aren't about punishing anyone. They're about creating the safe environment you need to heal, the one your community failed to give you. This conversation has to be dragged out of the shadows. The silence around this is precisely what allows abuse to thrive. If you have ever faced this wall of silence, if you've ever felt judged or alone after leaving, share one thing in the comments you wish people understood. Let's make this comment section a space of radical acknowledgement. Let's be the community for each other that we all deserved from the start. And if this message hit home for you, if you believe these are the conversations we need to have, please subscribe. Join a community that is dedicated to breaking these silences. You are not alone in this fight. The unspoken truth is that leaving is often not the end of the battle. For many women, it's the beginning of a different kind of war. A war against silence, against stigma, and against the devastating apathy of the communities we thought we could trust. But here's the other side of that truth. Your healing doesn't depend on winning over the people who refuse to see you. It depends on finding the ones who do. Breaking free isn't just about leaving one person. It's about the sacred journey of rejoining a world that sees you, believes you, and honors your story. Trauma wants you to believe you're alone, but you're not. Your healing begins the moment you find the people who are finally, truly willing to listen.